Trump's economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, famously said in, I think it was late February, but it may have been early March, he said that the coronavirus was contained or nearly contained. And now he has to answer for that failure.
Mr. Kudlow, I want to stop you there just for a second, including you. It was also just a month ago you told CNBC that you thought the virus was contained in the country, even though doctors were warning otherwise. You also downplayed the threat of a long-lasting economic tragedy. You have since said that was based on facts at the time, but yes. Why should people trust you this morning with your prediction?
Look, I'm as good as the facts are, and at the time I made that statement, the facts were contained. The president had just put the travel restrictions on China, and a lot of people agree with me. In fact, at the time, a lot of people felt that the flu was worse than this virus.
No, Fox News thought those things, and Fox News pushed those things out, and they only did it because you guys were saying it first. Because Trump was saying stuff like it. That's the reality. He said, "Oh, I'm only as good at as the facts at the time." Those were never facts. Those were never facts. That was your propaganda. That's what it was. So, if you think, "Wow, this is bad, but this is a rare thing." I mean, who is this wrong? I mean, this is record-breaking incompetence. That's what this is. And how do you touch that? How do you get near that? I mean, this is like a once-in-a-generation type wrong. You go out there and say, at the beginning of a giant pandemic, we got to contain, bro. Don't worry. It's contained or it's near contained. So, don't even worry about it, man. We got it. Like Trump was saying at the rallies, we got 15 people. We got 15 people, and it'll soon probably be down to, close to zero. And then it's just, obviously, what happened. Now, forget it. We're talking about literally minimum 100,000, 200,000 deaths. Minimum. Scary stuff. Real scary stuff. But Larry Kudlow is actually wrong to this degree all the time.
But of any high-profile economist in Washington, Kudlow was arguably the most stubborn, or delusional. In 1993, he claimed that there is no question that President Clinton's across-the-board tax increases on labor, capital, and energy will throw a wet blanket over the recovery and depress the economy's long-run potential. Not only was his prediction dead wrong, but the economy went into an 8-year expansion and 21 million jobs were created. In 2002, while arguing for the war in Iraq, Kudlow wrote, "The shock therapy of decisive war will elevate the stock market by a couple thousand points." But instead, the market fell. In July of 2008, he noticed the current economic data. An awful lot of very good new news, which appears to be pointing to a bottom in the housing problem. In fact, maybe the tiniest beginnings of a recovery. In September, the stock market took a nosedive into the abyss, with stocks losing nearly half of their value in the upcoming months. The housing crisis, or Great Recession of 2008, was one of the worst instances of economic devastation since the Great Depression.
He's been wrong about everything. He is a classic, old-school Reaganomics supply-sider, believer in the Laffer curve. And the Laffer curve is laughable. These guys are wrong about everything. And they don't care to look at economic history and to see that they're incorrect. He's also a giant opponent of the minimum wage and increasing the minimum wage. He's on record about that. And I'm telling you, man, you name a big economic event, and there's video out there of Larry Kudlow being wrong about it. And being loudly and aggressively wrong about it. And this is a guy that Donald Trump said, yes, I want him as my top economic advisor. So what do you expect to see, guys? I'll tell you what you expect to see. He's been on TV. Oh, yes, the market's going up. I sort of think the market will probably never stop going up. That's what I think, bro. It'll probably never stop going up. And, of course, now it's falling off a cliff. Now you could say, hey, there's, extenuating circumstances like the pandemic that are leading to it. Yeah, but it's still real. This market crash is still real. And the idea that it's going to bounce back quickly, well, I got bad news for you. You know who's saying that? the same kind of people like Larry Kudlow, who you just saw was wrong about goddamn everything. So look, we've tried his economic approach time and time again. You know, you look back they called it the Roaring 20s. Why was it called the Roaring 20s? Because the market was exploding. Oh my God, everything's so wonderful. Employment's low, market's exploding. This is great. Good times are never going to end. And then it crashed in 1929 with the Great Depression. So that's when, like, these times throughout history, every time it was cut taxes for the rich, deregulate the market. Cut taxes for the rich, deregulate the market. Ronald Reagan, you know, he was president and the market was booming. As soon as he left office, there was another crash. So this is the history of it, man. And Bill Clinton signed the repeal of Glass-Steagall. I believe it was called the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act. And then you had George W. Bush come in, do more deregulation, more tax cuts for the rich. To be fair to Clinton, he didn't cut taxes for the rich. He actually raised the rate a little bit. But you had George W. Bush do more deregulation, more tax cuts for the rich, and we had the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. So when you deregulate those guys on Wall Street, they're not the smartest guys in the room. They're the greediest guys in the room. But that's the mindset in Washington is, they're the smartest guys in the room. You got to let them just take away the rules and then they'll fix everything. Really? Because the exact opposite happened. You took away the rules and they crashed the economy. And, you know, just look at Goldman Sachs as a great example of this, what they did. They were selling these subprime mortgage packages to investors saying, oh, you're going to make a lot of money. It's going to be great. They were rated AAA because they bought the ratings agencies. And then as they were selling them like they're good packages, they would turn around and bet on those same packages to fail. They were committing fraud left and right. See, this is what those guys were doing. They were looking out for their own butts. They were trying to make as much money as they possibly could. And damn the consequences. And then when the market crashed, what happened? Everybody rush in, bail out Wall Street, bail out the criminals, except Lehman Brothers. Lehman Brothers failed, but everybody else, bail them out, bail them out, bail them out, shower tax money on them. And then they went right back to doing the same stuff they were doing. And they went right back to paying the same losers who bankrupted their respective companies. They went back to paying them bonuses. And throughout this whole thing, what was Larry Kudlow doing? Cheerleading it along. First of all, pretending like, you know, voodoo economics, which is what H.W. Bush called it, which is Reaganomics, trickle-down economics, cutting taxes for the rich and deregulation. First of all, acting like that was a great philosophy that was still working and made sense. Cheerleading that while also continuing to be wrong about everything and cheerleading the bailouts. See, that's the thing. These guys aren't even principled free market types, because a principled free market type is somebody like Ron Paul, where he says, listen, man, yes, I'm against, you know, universal health care and welfare for people. I don't believe in that. But I also don't believe in corporate welfare and bailouts. A guy like Larry Kudlow is the scum of the earth because he pretends like I'm principled, you know, I'm a principled guy for a free marketplace. But he's only against the welfare for regular people. He's always for the corporate bailouts. So he believes in corporate socialism, also known as corporatism. That's what he believes. He's a corporatist to his core. I'm going to pretend like I have a principled position against government intervention in the market, except for when my buddies start losing all their money, in which case I'm going to say, government, come save us, please. And then immediately start pretending yet again the next day that, you know, hey, we were right with our economic predictions and with our economic models all along. No, you weren't, except maybe the way we really need to start looking at a guy like Larry Kudlow is that he did achieve his goals. And what does that mean? Well, that means maybe Larry Kudlow doesn't care about the crashing economy, doesn't care about the consequences for regular people. He just knows he wants his buddies on Wall Street in suits and ties to become more wealthy. And if that comes in the form of taxpayer bailouts, who cares? Those are his buddies. He talks to them at the yacht club. That's what he does. So, I don't know. Is he just really stupid? Probably. Or is it also nefarious? And they're just trying to loot the treasury as much as possible while they can. That's certainly possible. That's certainly possible. But either way, he has a track record of being wrong about everything. And he's just trying to wiggle out of it when the wrongness comes in the form of a pandemic. We got it under control, guys. Don't even worry about it. It's not even, I mean, come on. It's not even that crazy. It's not even that serious. Like, we got this. We got it. It's nearly contained, bro. Nearly contained, bro. And then this happens. He's like, what happened was the sun was in my eyes and I was only really as good as the evidence at the time. There was no evidence saying that. There was no evidence saying that. Fox News was saying that, and you were saying that. You probably started it, the Trump administration. Then they ran with it too. So there were no facts at the time that said that. But this is what he does. He's wrong about everything, and then he fails up. Seriously, that's what happens with a lot of these guys that go to the nice Ivy League schools, and they're born into wealth. They just fail up throughout their entire lives. Well, now you see what that looks like. And unfortunately, there will be no reckoning with everything that I'm telling you guys right now. It's not like this takedown I'm doing of Larry Kudlow, all of a sudden this is going to become the mainstream view of Larry Kudlow. No. He'll continue to influence the most powerful person in the world to make economic decisions. And the results of that will not be pretty.